Welcome back to the channel, brothers and sisters, welcome back. So this is the urban legend story Over the Witching Hour, and this is the urban legend story of Vlad Dracul III, also known as Vlad the Impaler. Buckle up, brothers and sisters, buckle up. This is a good one. This one goes into a lot of detail. Mind I say to you there's a connection, mind I say to you about the Romanovs having a connection to another royal dynasty. Well, that royal dynasty is Vlad Dracul III, Vlad the Impaler, my second favourite of all time. Second favourite urban legend after Anastasia. So there's Anastasia and then there's Vlad Dracul, also known as Vlad the Impaler. And we go into all of his urban legend. All. Because there's names that he was known as, and these are real names. But the Vatican have a whole, section on this guy, like a full section. And when I say a section, there is a section the size of, like he's got a full, like just imagine going into a huge library. And there's more as well. There's other things that they don't want people knowing. With this one, we're definitely going down into, we're following the White Rabbit with this one, and following Alice into Alice in Wonderland, Queen Alice of Tartaria. So names that he was known as, there's a Vlad the III, Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Dracul III, and Vlad Dracula, Voivode of Wallachia, which is that was his home country back in his time. There is no way with, and this is why I love Vlad the Impaler. This is why I love his urban legend, because there is no accurate date of the birth of Vlad. And this is where the fun begins. Because his father is Vlad Dracul II, and he was Vlad Dracul III. The legend begins with his, basically his little bit of origin story is no one really knows, and it's all myth lore and hearsay about his true, backstory. So in the first urban legend, I touched upon the Romanovs and their dynasty, and they found a boy in the woods. That boy in the woods was Vlad Dracul. He was a male that was presented by Tartaria. I'm gonna be mentioning a couple of things that you can't find out, and that this will probably get you questioning, like, how do I know some of these things? Well, I'm not going into detail, but I've got videos on the channel. So obviously he's not a Romanov. Just the Romanovs have a connection to Vlad Dracul, and I will be getting into that. The way the light is it's quite hard to. I've got keynotes. I had to have keynotes for this. There we go. Oh well. After being found in the woods, as he got older, he started showing that there was something that his royal court couldn't put on. They just couldn't quite put a finger on. He was totally different, even to the people in the town. He was completely different. And this isn't rumour. Like, this is actually true fact. Like, it's what makes him a very scary urban legend, but a true urban legend at the same time, because he was actually a real person, but he's got an urban legend about him. So they couldn't quite put their finger on what, because he could predict things and he could predict outcomes of certain scenarios. Like, he would predict that his father would win and how many would die and how many enemies would die and stuff like that. So as he got older, he showed he could fight. And while he was training, he showed that he was unique. And people refused to train with him because he outshone them. So when he got a little bit older, it's rumoured that when he was like in his mid-teens, roughly at about the age of like 15, 16, they were on a hunting party and he had 20 warriors and they stocked up with supplies in the local town. And as they were stocking up for supplies in the local town, a stranger approached them and basically I need to find the notes for this one. So he asked the stranger, "Who is coming? Warriors are heading this way to plague this town." Vlad asked how many, and the stranger replied, "A couple of hundred." And just remember, there was only 20 of them. So he asked the local townspeople to send word to his dad that the town that's in his kingdom was being. It was kind of like pushing, not that far away. Wasn't that far away from the castle. And basically he was in the local market, and basically they went at one sword. Vlad asked the stranger to show him where the warriors were coming from and the direction that they were heading. And they head out the town and they end up going 4 miles east. That's when Vlad and the 20 warriors, they were hiding in a woodland, and they could see that there was 250 warriors. And it was warriors that they had never seen before or heard of. And this is where it gets really interesting. This was Norman men from the north, and they were mything the lands because his kingdom was part of Romania back a long time ago. And they were also rumoured because he was around in the 1500s. So it was rumoured that there was none. But all eyes could see, they were real. And they stepped forth. Vlad speaking. They kept walking. And then Vlad drew a small blade in through the blade and impaled the warrior that came from the Norman. Because he was a tall, well-built warrior. And this is a true account. This actually happened. He impaled the big one at the front, straight through the middle of the head. Now the warriors were ready. And then that's when his warriors came forth and stood behind him. And they stood beside him. So while the warriors were getting prepared to go to battle with the 20 warriors, 20 hunting scouts pretty much, Vlad shouted, "I am Dracul," but in a way that his voice echoed. It echoed through the valley and through the woods. His voice echoed. The approaching warriors now, the first time, they stopped after him, bellowing who he was. And then one stepped forth, bellowed Valhalla, basically the opposite to Vlad. He was the leader, and he bellowed Valhalla. Vlad drew his sword, and the 20 of them charged in the battle, and into battle they went. I'm going to give a side that I've heard before, and I will be doing a follow-up. This is a warrior's tale from Valhalla. I only know it because I've heard it. All sides fought with honour. And only two of them walked away. Vlad Dracul and the warrior of the Norman, men of the North. They both were the only two that left alive. And then after the battle, they both basically bowed to each other, but they had both. He decimated 250 warriors, but lost 20. And the last surviving Norman, man from the north, walked. And this is where Vlad gave his account, that he just vanished. This was Vlad's first sign that there were other forces at work. He headed back to town. His father was in town and readying for battle, because the town wasn't that far away from the castle. They were just hunting in the local woods. So as Vlad came back into town, his father beckoned, because he knew that he was missing 20 warriors. And then that's when his father cleared the tavern for talks. So his father started, because his father wasn't best pleased. He thought Vlad, this is where Vlad got a bit, this is where the accounts of him getting easily angry, as his father started, and basically say to him that this is your first lesson. We lost good men. And then Vlad would go on to say, but I won the battle. No man won. The one who you met at the end, he is part of the order. This is the man that was alive. And then his father basically said he was part of the order. And this is when Vlad, when they got back to the castle, that would know about the order. But I'm not getting into the order at the moment. But this was the first battle that they ended up knowing that he was part of. He was part of an order. There's some weird things happening at the moment, sorry. I do apologise, sorry. So his father was more annoyed because he had now had an enemy. His father knew who the Northmen were. And this is when his father gave him this advice. Seek counsel before battle. Make sure they are your enemies first. We are part of something bigger than ourselves. And this is where I go. This is where his dad would go on to tell him that he was joining his dad back in the castle because he was joining his father on a journey east to help an ally in the land of the water dragon, the kingdom of the dragon. And then he just went, well, now you have made it harder. And then that's when Vlad would soon realise that he would then end up eventually having to face a foe that was originally a friend. And it's like I said, that was his first lesson. And it's rumoured that he didn't really learn from the lesson. But the account is real. It was a sacred order. That account is real. It was a sacred order parchment. Vlad's first and soon to become many mistakes. So Vlad Dracul, his name has an amazing meaning. So the meaning of his name is Dracul, son of the dragon. Vlad Count Dracul III, full name meaning son of the dragon fire. Vlad meaning fire, Dracul, son of the dragon. So the stranger that he met, this was the stranger that gave him the false alarm, basically, the first of quite a few, because he made quite a lot of enemies because he would sometimes believe locals, which is fair enough because it's his people, so he's going to try and believe their people. But there was spies and enemies, and that's when he realised that was his first realisation that not everyone is who they claim to be. So after his father left and then obviously couldn't head east because he didn't have the allies to go east to help. And he also made arrangements that he would catch up. And this is where his father knew that he had something to go settle, a score to settle. Basically, he killed an ally that he knew that he would end up paying the consequences for later, which he ended up, and it wasn't him that paid the price. So the stranger, he lured the stranger out, and this was his Vlad impaled the stranger. This was he was the first to be impaled. The town people were shocked at how he did it, because the way in which he did it, it made him look like he had supernatural strength. And then that's when the name started, Vlad the Impaler. You can look all that up. It's really fascinating, but the battle and the ally is real. It's a true account that actually happened. I've heard the story. I've heard the story. And there's also a lot going on around me at the same time. So it's I'm not really getting into the story. Mine's is more on the giving a bit of actual history on what actually happened. So there's also a rumour that where he really gained the name Vlad the Impaler was by impaling the Hungarian Saxons. Now remember the story of the Northmen. And then that's when they gained rule over, because they had to go deal with the Ottoman Turks who were attacking at the east. He had enemies in the east, and as he was attacking them in the east, that's where the Saxons came in. And basically he impaled the Hungarian. So as he was leaving, the Hungarian Saxons came in. He went away to deal with the Hungarian Saxons, which meant he was being followed by the Ottoman Turks. And that's when he impaled the Hungarian Saxons as a warning to the Ottoman Turks. But he ended up impaling the Ottoman Turks as well. And then he ended up beheading the leader. And this is actually a true account. This is where he beheaded the leader of the Ottoman Turks, and basically drank a cup of his blood, and then that's when the myth of him being a vampire originated. He got the extra strength because he was a son of Tartaria. Because I'm going to go into this is another part of his urban legend story, where it ends up becoming why he's the son, why his name is the Son of the Dragon. Well, he's named Son of the Dragon because he's part of a so myth had it before that it went. The myth goes a bit dark a little bit, but he ends up making he's a part of he was part of a dynasty, part of something, and he was the true son of dragon, the true son of a dragon. That was then the start of him gaining a reputation as a vampire. The myth of him being a vampire is a bit out there and a bit far-fetched, because there is actually, it's just because he drank a bowl of the Ottoman leader's blood as a sign of it was a message. Myth had it stated that before he fought the Hungarian Saxons, he made a sacred blood oath to the dragon to vanquish all foes that are enemies to his kingdom of divine. Well, something happened, as there are accounts of him having unnatural strength only in battle, and he's a royal guard, and he made 300 his royal guard, and they all made an oath, a blood oath, to the Order of the Dragon. And they also made a blood oath to the true son of the dragon, vowing to fight with him against natural and supernatural forces, to face death with the fury of the dragon. And there's a lot of the urban legend and myth of him having this supernatural strength and a whole load of other abilities, was accounts made by survivors, who then wrote about his army of supernatural warriors that were rumoured to have never died, and him included. And there's a true historical fact. I'm going to give a little bit of a true history. So in World War II, it was written that there was a small army of 300. A small army of 300. I'm going to have to stand up and do the rest of this. Sorry. It's just so I can see what's coming. There's a lot of sorry, there's just a lot of activity coming around. A lot of activity around me at the moment. So I'll give so in World War II, it was written that there was a small army of 300 soldiers led by a faceless leader. Took out these 300 soldiers and the faceless leader, took out 3 German battalions without the use of modern warfare at the time, only using sword and spear. Very similar to the story of the Spartans in the 300 against the Horde that proved that they're mortals. That's what made the Spartans Spartans, is they made the immortals who were feared worldwide at that time. Well, the Spartans made sure that the immortal they were not. They were definitely not immortal. And there is also another fact as well about Leonidas in the 300. King Leonidas and his 300 warriors, well, Leonidas was also a son of the dragon, and his household guard were picked and made to have sacred vows to the ancient order of the dragon. Now, Leonidas was well before Vlad Dracul and his rumour of being part of the dragon order, the sacred order of the dragon. And it's mainly to protect the children of divine against pure evil, no matter the odds and what forces they faced, be it natural or supernatural. And that's where the story of the 300 comes into play. I will be touching on Leonidas in the 300, because he's also an urban legend as well. But he's not the first. Leonidas, you would think that he was the first, but he's not. I will be going somewhere with that. The sacred order of the dragon is divinely anointed. So going back to the World War II account, none of the 300 were wounded or killed. As quick as they came, they basically disappeared. And this is another true fact. It was a clear sunny day when they attacked, and as the 300 approached the 3 battalions, when the 300 were spotted, an unnatural fog started forming. Then the most secret short battle of World War II began. As quickly as the fog appeared, they vanquished the enemy before they even knew that they were being attacked. That account keeps the myth that Romania is guarded by the sacred order of the dragon, and that is true. Like, they are protected by the sacred order of the dragon. Some weird shit happening around me. This is why I don't think that he is a vampire, but a mortal with the dragon blood and soul, making him immortal. And how are the Romanovs connected to Vlad Dracul III? His answer, Nicholas Romanov II is his lineage, hence why there's a possibility that this could be the reason why they were assassinated, is rumoured to have an ancestry to one of Vlad's blood oath guards, binding the family to the sacred order of the dragon. And the fact that the Romanov family crest is a